On this question, there are 78 voting yes, 32 voting no, and 0 voting present. And this bill has received a constitutional majority, so I declare it passed.
Mr. Speaker, it took a while. What made this the right moment for it to go in the House?
Well, I have said ever since I became Speaker in 2021, I'd rather take my time and get it right than go fast and get it wrong. And, you know, people all the time, critics like to criticize the things that we do, criticize our processes in place. But since I've been Speaker, those processes have delivered big results. And this is just another one of those big wins for the state of Illinois because of solid systems that we have in place. And you know when it's right because a good system will tell you it's right. The conversations differ at the end than they were at the beginning. You have to take your time, listen to people, and if you're listening, you know the time is right. We heard that today.
The bill is about more than the Bears, but do you think this is enough for them? I mean, Indiana's offering a heck of a lot, basically, to build a stadium for them.
This was a very, very, very important step. This statewide economic development tool is not only going to help the Chicago Bears, it's going to help communities all across the state. Chicago, Springfield, it's going to help communities all over the state. And I'm really proud of that. It also delivers property tax relief. It creates a fund that dollars are going to go into that's going to lead to some significant property tax relief. We have to be proud about that as well. And at the end of the day, we also knew that this was a bifurcated process, that this was just one of the important steps that we have to do. We have to continue the conversations with folks in Arlington Heights and the Chicago Bears, and we do know that there are some infrastructure questions out there, and we committed to continuing those discussions.
A property tax break for big developers means less money for schools. What's the plan to make schools whole?
Well, this bill addresses those concerns. Leader Buckner sat down with Arlington Heights officials. He sat down with school officials. He sat down with union representatives, the Illinois Federation of Teachers. And I think if they had 9 suggestions, I think he took 7. And part of that was to protect local schools. Those protections are in the bill.
What are you hearing about with what the Senate will do?
Well, you know, listen, they're a co-equal branch of government. You know, they're going to take a look at the bill. They may make changes to it. They may not. I will tell you they've been a part of this process every step of the way. The governor's office, the Senate, the House, we were working very well together. And we were really proud of that process. You know, the House is twice the size as the Senate. We had a lot of voices that we had to listen to. And I think because of that, and because we took our time and were deliberative about it, I think we got it right. Now, are there some things that they may tweak? That's very possible. That's how this legislative process works.
You mentioned One Central and some of the development. How might this help them? The White Sox even? If you read the full bill, this thing is truly a statewide economic development tool. There's some creative things that have been done that will allow areas that exist in the city of Chicago that have not been developed for a very long time. For instance, the Michael Reese site could be developed with tools that are in this package. The 78 site could be developed where the Chicago White Sox may end up moving to because of the tools that are in this package. This thing could help a whole lot of people and generate a whole lot of tax revenue for the state of Illinois because of the development that's going to come because of it. There's hundreds of millions of dollars left on the Soldier Field renovation from 2002. What's the plan to retire that debt? Well, those conversations are going to continue as part of that bifurcated discussion. One thing we know that area is going to do quite well. If they can have more concerts than they do now, we've seen projections where Soldier Field actually brings in more revenue for the city of Chicago
without the Chicago Fire and without the Chicago Bears. And we are committed to continue to have those conversations to make sure the best big city in America continues to be the best big city in America. That's what this has been about. This has been about helping every region of the state. And you can't deliver Chicago votes without making sure the economic engine of this state stays strong. A strong Chicago is a strong Illinois.
There's people who study these kinds of deals, and they say they just never work out well for the taxpayers. What haven't you thought of?
Well, I actually think this is a unique deal. I think we looked at what happened in Missouri. We looked at what happened in Kansas. We looked at what happened in other states. And you look at the things that work, you look at the things that don't work. And that's what a deliberative process allows you to do. And I think this is going to become model legislation across the country. This is going to allow us to compete. This is going to allow us to turn old industrial towns into something else. And I think we're going to look back on this, and this is going to be what they call legacy work.
Do you think the Bears want to move to Indiana? What's your sense? Do they want to remain the Chicago Bears or the Chicago area Bears?
I believe the Bears want to stay in Illinois. I believe they still want to be the Chicago Bears. They're the pride and joy of Illinois, and they don't want to go anywhere. Their fans want them here. Their owners want them here. And I got to tell you, I believe that they've been negotiating in good faith, truly wanting to stay in the state of Illinois.
I want to ask you about the Millionaires Amendment. If that somehow comes up again, gets through the legislature, gets on the ballot, what would be the plan to sell it?
Well, I mean, I think there's been a lot of good discussions. I'm so glad that we kept this thing in the forefront. And at the end of the day, I think people believe that we can do better for our schools. I think that people believe that we can probably do more for property tax relief. And if the people trust you and they know that the money's going to go where you say it's going to go, they're going to support it. And I think that we need to make sure that whatever we put on the board and pass, it clearly will bring out the trust of the voters that they would want to support it. And the polling clearly shows that folks will pay for better schools and property tax relief.
I keep hearing that there's some people worried about the politics of this, that you can't have something like this fail twice.
Well, that was certainly a concern that was brought up in the discussions, and I think that's part of this process. When you do it, you want to win, and you want to make sure.
But who loses if you run it again, bring it to the voters again? Obviously, graduated income tax failed in 2020. Who loses in that scenario if you put that before the voters again?
Listen, I'm a believer in when you put something on the board, you want to win. And if you do it right, you will. And you want to build coalitions. We had a successful day today because we built coalitions. That's the formula to success. And if we build the coalition, labor, business, everyone's got to be at the table to make this a success. We're close. We're going to continue to have some conversations that I think will get us there. And when we get there, it's going to pass.
Redistricting passed out of the House. What's the point of that? Republicans are in court trying to sue over the maps. I mean, there are 3 Republican members of Congress. I mean, they say that you're just using your power to keep your supermajorities.
Listen, anyone that's paying attention to what's going on in Washington know that we did the right thing. This very radical partisan U.S. Supreme Court is set to gut the Federal Voting Rights Act of 1965. What Lyndon Johnson fought so hard for, and which is truly a legacy of President Lyndon Johnson, that truly transformed Congress, we have to respond to that. Before that Voting Rights Act became law, there were 5 people that looked like you and I in the United States Congress. Today, because of the Federal Voting Rights Act, it's the most racially diverse Congress in the history of our country. That's because of the Voting Rights Act. And Republicans all across this country, in Texas, in North Carolina, in Missouri, they're passing maps to erase black representation. What we're trying to do is enshrine the language of the Federal Voting Rights Act into the Illinois Constitution to protect and make things stronger for the people of Illinois and to be able to continue to have a diverse legislature like we do today.
Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Thank you, Tahman. It's always a pleasure.